Easy everyone, it's just Alex Holland here, and just in between eating more mince pies and getting on the Baileys, I thought I'd just do a few videos just quickly talking about the tracks from my new album, Everything and Nothing, and sort of a little bit of info of where they came from, influences and stuff like that, just because I've got nothing better to do basically. Track 1, Standard Deluxe, kind of a patchy break. That was actually going to be a different tune. I think that ended up being Heartchord on my first album, Delusions of Grandeur, so it couldn't have been much different. The beat was completely different, but I've kept it because I thought I really like that. Some nice processing on it. Once you have a starting point, it's quite easy to sort of get a tune going, so just put in the atmospherics. I think the bass might have been a sound off the Virus that was sort of processed. And then I remember playing at the Skeleton versus Repertoire night in February before the kind of lockdown stuff, and I remember Monitor coming over as soon as it dropped. Brian Monitor came over and was like, "What's that?" So that's always a good sign. You know you're onto a winner if sort of people are coming over asking what the tune is when you're playing them out. So yeah, that was Standard Deluxe, and also the name was the Defunct skate brand from sort of the mid 90s. I remember they used to sell it in a shop near where we lived. So yeah, Standard Deluxe. To Mr. Moody, an old idea. I think I wrote the original kind of sketch of that in sort of like 2005, and sort of it was something that was just sort of there waiting to be properly finished. And then yeah, just as I started to put the album together, rediscovered it, replaced some of the bass sounds. Sort of the kind of really distorted bass is something I think I used on Fuzzface that came out on Vampire. And then, yeah, it's a sort of samurai break, bit of sort of tube distortion and sort of stuff, just to dirty it up as I sort of tend to do and stuff. And yeah, sort of came together finally. Nice to have a closure on a tune that's been kicking around since like 2005. So yeah, track 2, Mr. Moody. 3, The Rude Stepper, one of the more recent tracks. I think I wrote that towards the end of last year, and yeah, kind of a sort of stepper. The break I'd had for a while, sort of processed in Reason. Reason's got this quite nice, real basic compressor, but it's really nice for getting sort of beats pumping. So sort of processed that, had it in a folder for ages. Finally got around to working on it. Put some bass noises in, a sort of arpeggiate noise from the OB6, which worked really well. Some sort of garage, grime, a cappella sort of vocal stabs, just kind of throw them in there as sort of effects and things. And yeah, quite proud of that one. Played that a lot myself. I know Jay Kenzo was all over that once I sent it to him. So big up to Jay. And yeah, that's one of my faves I think off the album, Rude Stepper. Track 4 is Need Your Love featuring Acid Lab. So that was a project I'd sent to Dan and sort of said, what do you think of this? I kind of not really getting very far. He kind of sent it back and basically redid the track, redid the drums and things. I really liked what he did on the drums and took everything else out and then built the tune around sort of Dan's sort of reworked drums and sort of very much a sort of old school kind of M1 piano kind of riff and things in there, and very much just the old Helter Skelter Dreamscape sort of tape packs. That was basically what I was sort of listening to in my head when I was writing that track. So yeah, that sort of came out quite nicely. Some real nice distortion on the bass from the filter bank as well. So sort of a mix of software and analog going on in that one. 5 Second Life featuring AWACS, my old mate from the Nottingham Brutal Recording days. It was an idea that he sent me, and I really liked what he did with the beat, so I sort of took everything else out and sort of built the track around the break. Found a vocal. I think he'd already called it Second Life, so I found a vocal on YouTube about somebody talking about sort of, spiritualism and stuff like that and Second Life stuff. Put in some nice sort of ravey kind of lead bass. The actual bass is sort of really distorted, kind of a big sub bass, through the Sherman filter banks. It's basically multiple takes of distorting the bass kind of put together, so it's sort of getting more and more distorted and nastier as the sort of track progresses. Six is Get Loose, and that was just a sort of just dance floor tune that just came together really quickly, having a play with sort of addictive drums and sort of some breaks and layering it, and just found this really nice bass I'd taken off, I think, the Virus again, that just sounded huge. How I sort of recorded it through the desk, and it's one of those tracks that came together really, really quickly. And I was like, I think that's pretty cool. And I went over and played it to Leon Chromatic, and he was like, yeah, this is definitely a tune, mate. So that's sort of been in the bag, and that was sort of one that sort of just went in the folder fairly quickly. Have fun, always play that out. It kind of works in sort of any kind of set, really, just a big bouncer of a tune, really. 7 is Rubber Sub, and that's again is another sort of old idea that had an original sort of sketch from probably around the time of Mr. Moody. So again, these are some tracks that have been kicking around for a while and just waiting to be sort of finished off. It's the main, I think the break and the sort of dubby riff, stab riff is the original bit. Everything else was sort of written last year, so sort of the effects. There's some quite nice sounds off the Prophet 12 sort of in there, sort of the kind of horn sort of sound that comes in sort of mid-track. And just a real big sub. So it's just sort of very much a bit of a homage to Digital and Spirit and those sort of guys, sort of very much, and their kind of style of tune. Very much a dedication to Mr. Spirit, I think, on that one. Track 8 is Tribal Gathering. It's definitely been one of the tracks that's sort of been most well received from sending it out. Kind of just a roller. I think it's the funky drummer break process. There was some sort of other sort of percussion over the top. Some nice sort of synths I made in Absinthe that kind of very much sounded like that kind of old school sort of synths, sort of pads and things. The name is Tribal Gathering because it sounds quite tribal, and also there was this big rave that Universe put on, I think, in 1993. I was only 13, so I didn't go. But I remember the flyer was basically like a 3-page comic, and it was just like the best. It was almost like this is a work of art rather than just a flyer for a festival. So that's very much kind of got, I think that's one of my favourites off there. It's just to play it. It's fun to play, sounds good. Cool. Tribal Gathering. Track 9 is Your Ghost. So that was something that only really happened because of COVID. The album was going to come out earlier than it did. So that was a track that I actually wrote during lockdown, came together really quickly, just on a sort of a bit of trying to do a sort of just old school Dom Rollins technical itch, kind of just nasty Amen tune. Just came together over a weekend. Played it out before the clubs closed, and it went down really well. So I was like, that's going on the album. So that fortunately only happened because the album was delayed. So it's funny kind of how these things can happen. But track 9, Your Ghost. Track 10 is Everything and Nothing. So again, this is an older track that I'd had kicking around, was working on, knew there was something there, but it hadn't been finished. It was called that before the vocal that I found. That was another something off YouTube. He sort of says nothing and everything rather than everything and nothing, but I thought it was close enough. And it's just kind of a bit of a my take on maybe like the break, Quarantine, Fear, sort of just real distorted, heavy rolling tune. some atmospherics from Absinthe, and some I think off the OB6 as well, and just a real big impact tune. But that's so it's gone down quite well, and that's track 10, Everything and Nothing. 11, the final track on the album is Deckard's Lullaby. So that was again, I think the break had been around in a folder for a little while. A lot of the OB6 on the sort of musicality elements of the track. Just a big sub. So it's kind of a bit of a kind of take on the sort of good looking, the more kind of deeper stuff from sort of back in the day. But sort of, kind of got a retro feel to it, but also some sort of modern touches in there, which is really what Dope Plates and that kind of the project was about. So I think that sort of connected with quite a few people. So nice track to round the album off.